Alright, what is up guys? It's Rice511 again. It's super weird being back on camera again. I know you still can't see my face or anything, but I'm actually really excited to be filming videos again. The only reason I haven't been filming is I've been actually super busy working on some projects behind the scenes, which are almost ready to show you guys, but I can't quite show you yet. So just for now, thank you for being patient with me and thanks for sticking around to those of you who still are here. This video is a little bit different. This is actually going to be a review video. I still have another one to come as well, and that is going to be for this. Alright, so this is the CREALITY, I think that's how you say it, CR-10 Smart Pro 3D printer. Now this is a FDM printer. This company was actually nice enough to send me two different machines for review. So this is one of them. The other one is a resin or a SLA printer, which I still need to finish the video for. The only reason that was taking so long was because I hadn't received the curing chamber, but this one should be right up my alley because all my other machines are FDM, so I'm hoping this one shouldn't be too tricky to get going and working. So we're going to be jumping in with this today and yeah, doing a bit of a review video. So I hope you guys enjoy the slightly different content. This is definitely something that's going to be helping the channel. Obviously I can use this for my projects, and hopefully doing reviews on these kind of machines is going to open the doors up for some other companies to work with as well. So massive shout out to CREALITY. Thank you guys for sending this to me for review, and let's get into it. So we're going to crack this bad boy open. I'm pretty sure this thing is almost flat packed, so there's going to be some assembly required. So I'm really keen to get into that, and yeah, so let's crack this thing open. Okay, so we have some foam on the top. First impressions, this thing does look extremely well packed, which is really nice. You do have your instructions, leveling card, everything in there that you need to set up the printer, and everything is really nicely laid out with this machine, so definitely not going to have any problems during transit. I highly doubt this would come damaged when it makes it to you, so everything looks really, really mint in here. It's nice as well, they have included a little roll of filament. It's only around 200 grams though, so it's probably just going to get you a few test prints. But I'm probably going to be using third-party filament anyway to print on this machine. This section here, which just pulls out, this has got a bunch of hardware in there, and then kind of in the center of the box here we have the heart of the machine basically. Okay, so this machine is a little bit larger than I expected. There is quite a lot going on here, so I'm going to pull everything out of the packaging and we'll get that all set up. Okay, so now I've got everything laid out on the table. We can see all of our parts. So as you can see, everything came in really good condition. You know, we've got your kind of Z-axis, your base piece, then we have your filament holder, I'm assuming. I think this has your filament sensor in it as well. We have our screws and bolts, the hardware, LCD screen. I think this one is touchscreen as well. We have your small filament spool, spade. Then you have your filament roll holder. Now this is actually, feels like it's got a bearing in there, so it feels very, very smooth, which is a nice touch of quality. So even on my more expensive printers, they don't have bearings in the spool holders. Then it looks like we have a little camera. I don't know what quality this is, but it looks fairly nice. And a little tripod to go along with that one as well. Then we've got your base kind of with your build plate on there as well. You've got your two support rods, which support this big axis here. You have your extruder assembly. And I think this has like a little leveling probe on it as well there, which is nice. And also your power cable and leveling card. Okay, so now it's time to build this thing. I think the best way to do this is going to be flipping it on its side, because there is some bolts that need to come up into the gantry. So I'm going to flip this whole thing on its side and stick the bolts in that way. And then we can see kind of how easy it is to just plug and play everything. From my understanding, this should be pretty easy to build. Okay, so basically what we've got is 2 hex bolts on this side and 2 hex bolts on this side here. Now don't tighten these in all the way, leave them fairly loose, and then what we'll do is once we have all 4 in, then we will tighten them all up at the same time, and then that way we can get a nice even tension across the frame. Okay, so we've got the gantry mounted. So it's nice and locked on there. It feels a little bit uneven. I don't know if it's the machine or my table. It's probably my table. So if you see that wobble there, don't worry about it. Okay, so getting these support rods mounted is super easy. I've still got to do the other side there. But all you have is an M5 by 12 millimeter hex bolt there. And then down the bottom, you have a M5 by 20 millimeter down here. And you just have to put that washer on first, behind the eye, before you insert this and screw that on. And then once that's on there, it's nice and tight and gives a good amount of support to the gantry, which is really awesome. And so we'll go ahead and get this other side mounted up to here as well. And then we can use this hex spanner to go ahead and tighten up the support rods there. Okay, so now we have our extruder kit assembly to attach. So you can see this is actually really nice. This is all metal, and I think this is a titanium tip, which is really cool. And basically we just have these 3 hex bolts here, which need to go into these holes there, and it should sit quite nicely just there. Alright, everything is mounted on there, looks good. Let's go on to the next step. Alright, so now this just mounts onto here. So we just line these up. And that should just clip on just like that. Okay, so once this is mounted, now we just have to go and connect all of our connectors and ribbon cables. One thing we do need to do first though is get our touchscreen mounted. So there's just these 3 screws here that line up with the holes there, and this should just pop in. But we do need to connect this connector first, which goes in here. All right, everything is connected. Let's just get this on. So it goes around this way. And then that's it. Okay, so first we're gonna get these motors connected at the back. So this one just connects straight in here, just like that. And then we have a 3-pin here and a 2-pin. So we're going to connect these ones here. There we go, nice little snap, and they're all connected. Pretty much the same deal. Just gonna get this and connect that in like that. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get this plugged in. Everything's moving. I don't think anything's in the way. I'm just gonna hold that for 3 seconds, see what happens. All right, I can definitely hear something's happening. We've got the graphic on the screen displaying down here. So we've got the CREALITY logo coming up. I can hear the fans are on. We have a little LED up here on the leveling probe. And it looks like everything's okay. All right, and as you can just see, the whole table just lit up just then, and that is because we have our LED strip under here is now shining onto the printer. So this thing, I mean, it looks fantastic. Like, it absolutely looks fantastic. I love this kind of the gold flexible build plate that they've gone with here. The build quality, as you've seen throughout the video, is really, really good. We're going to see how responsive the touchscreen is and what the user interface is like, and kind of get into more of the technical stuff from this point. So yeah, the responsiveness is pretty good. You definitely do need to press a little bit harder than on my Guida 2S printers, but it's not bad at all. Like, you know, it's just a little bit more press force required, which is fine. So we're going to go to level, and then you have your auto level feature and your manual level feature here. So pretty much there's your different points on the bed. So we're just going to start with this one. As we can see, the axis is dropping down. So hopefully that's going to come until this little probe touches the bed. There we go. It's going to touch again. Perfect. All right. There. All right, now we should be able to see. They do give you this little leveling card here, which is 0.1 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and move this under here until we get the correct level. So they have these two tightened down as much as possible. So we're just going to keep bringing these up. All right, so that feels about good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move this to 0.2. Okay, I've now gotten it to a point where it is level at all 5 points of the bed. So even if your printer is equipped with the auto leveling system like this one is, I still recommend doing a manual level like that, just because that way the printer doesn't have to compensate as it is moving whilst it prints, because it will try to, you know, move the bed and the axis based on where it's closer or further away on the print bed. So if you get everything manually leveled correctly, then that way you're going to have a lot better consistency with the prints, because even if it was way out of level, it trying to compensate in the software is just going to be way worse than if it's manually leveled. So, all right, we're now going to run the printer through the auto leveling feature. So I'm just going to click start. We'll see what happens here. So now this is where it's going to map the bed digitally and basically almost visualize like a mesh of kind of what part of the bed's closer to the nozzle and what part's further away, and so on. But because we did the manual level first, it should be pretty level anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. But we'll let it go ahead and do its thing anyway. Still pretty interesting to watch, and at least you guys get to see the printer doing its thing in action anyway. But after this, I want to jump on to putting in the SD card that it came with and doing a test print that's already downloaded on there. And then we can start throwing some more challenging things at this printer and check out the slicing software. Okay, the auto level is now finished. Everything's done, it's 100% complete. It seems to be just fine by the looks of things. Okay, so starting us off, we have this nice little bunny rabbit. So this is part of the preloaded G-code that is on the SD card that comes with the machine. And this was using the provided CREALITY spool of PLA. As you can see, this came out wonderfully. So it does have a little bit of a brim on it, so that can come off nice and easily. But the actual overall quality of the print is superb. The lines look fantastic. There's virtually no stringing between the ears or anything like that. We do have a few kind of phantom lines on there, but you can't feel them at all. Overall, very successful print. Looks great. Cannot complain with the quality of that whatsoever. Okay, so next up we have some prints done in the vase mode. These were also preloaded on the SD card. So we have two of these candy bowls. But you can really put whatever you want in there. Overall fine print. So these are basically a single line, which is vase mode, and it goes all the way around and all the way down. So there is no infill, it's just a single wall print. As you can see, came out beautifully. And look at that first layer. So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's that slight kind of shine effect, almost like glitter. Fantastic first layer. I had no adhesion issues with this whatsoever. Popped straight off that print bed once everything cooled down, before I put the build tack on there. So that was beautiful. This one here, virtually the same thing. I decided to do two. Again, came out fantastic. So yeah, and then we have these little flower pot vase here. Again, came out immaculate. Nice first layer there. And yeah, virtually no impurities or deformities on this print whatsoever. So that was all the test files that came preloaded on the machine. Then I decided to get a little bit creative. This is the Raw Ice channel after all, so of course I had to do a hidden blade. So this is one of the Tanto Mark 11 dual action OTF hidden blades. So obviously if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I've done the single blade, the hybrids and the dual extendeds. This one's a Tanto, so I've never actually shown this on the channel before, so I thought this was a perfect time to show it, to show the capabilities of this printer. So as you can see, this is the surface that is on the print bed normally, on that PEI sheet. See it has that glittery kind of finish to it. It looks really nice. It's the Tanto blade design, so if we pull this, you can see it has that Tanto edge there, which is really nice. And overall, just the quality of this print is great. Like, it's really, really nice. I can't complain. Everything functions too. Really, there is no more challenging print than doing a hidden blade, because when you do all the parts for this, there is overhangs, there is support material, there is really thin walls, things that are going to break if the layer adhesion sucks, and if the layer lines are too prevalent or there is too much elephant's foot on the parts, they won't move. So this was really a good test. I virtually didn't need to sand anything on this, and all the parts fit together really, really well. And this was the result, a fully functioning Tanto hidden blade. So I was really, really happy with that. Can't complain. And to finish things off, we have a Valhalla lid for a Valhalla hidden blade. This was done in the PLA matte. I've actually got more of these printing right now. And as you can see, it came out really, really nice. You can see a little bit of the infill material through the lid. That's my fault. There was also a few little blobs and zits on there, but that is just from the slicer settings. So I've added more top layers to it now, and also fixed the print temperature on that one as well. So it should come out a lot nicer. But yeah, the actual quality of the print is still great. Look at that first layer. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I really can't complain with these. They look great. So yeah, basically, once everything's dialed in on this machine, it will not miss a beat. I've had some flawless prints off this, and yeah, I really can't complain about the print quality whatsoever. Once you've got it all set out, you should be good to go. Okay, so I've now had the printer for a couple of weeks, and I've gotten to know the machine a little bit better, and also the slicing software. So we're going to go over a few of the features that come standard on this printer, and possibly some things that I don't really like too much, and then also give my final verdict at the end of the video as to whether I would recommend you buy this printer or not. So let's jump into it. Okay, so starting us off, we have a build volume of 300 by 300 by 400 millimeters, which is very nice and very big. You're going to be able to get a lot of different size prints on this print bed. This is very important for me because I like to do multiple parts at the same time, and being able to fit everything on the print bed at once is really awesome. It also gives me the opportunity to do some larger base prints, like some helmets and some bigger models down the line. Moving on from that, the print bed is made of a PEI sheet. It's flexible. I had a really great time with this when printing in the PLA that CREALITY gave me. However, once switching to my PLA matte from eSun, it did not want to stick to that print bed at all. I don't blame CREALITY for that, or their PEI sheets. That material is very hard to get to stick. I've even had trouble on my enclosed printers and my other flash forge printers. But I slapped a build tack surface on there, that's 30 by 30 centimeters, and that has worked perfectly. And ever since then, I've had absolutely no adhesion issues whatsoever. I will note that the PEI sheet that comes stock on this printer does have a very nice first layer build finish. It gives it a almost glittery type shine to it, and it looks very, very smooth on that first layer. This has got to be some of the best first layers I've had from a 3D printer. They are very even, there is no deformities, and the overall finish of it is fantastic. Especially on that PEI sheet, it is incredible. On the matte filament though, the build tack has been absolutely perfect, and the first layer has come out amazing every single time. Okay, moving on from the build volume and the build plates, another thing I really love about this printer is the 4 anodized aluminium adjusting wheels that are situated in each corner of the print bed. This makes leveling very, very easily, makes it very easy, sorry, and it also gives you nice control of how much you're lifting the bed up in each point. Speaking of leveling, the machine does come with both manual and automatic leveling. I have done both and tested both. So far, no issues with either. I do prefer to do a manual level, but the auto level worked flawlessly for me, and I had absolutely no issue with the first layer prints. Speaking of which, the print that I have going right now is done using the automatic bed level, and I will get you a nice close-up of that so you can see how nice that first layer is with the auto leveling feature. I also love these belt tensioners here that are on the front and the side, so that gives you nice control over the belt tensions. So far I haven't needed to touch that though, but it's nice to have that option there, which is great. The machine also comes with your filament runout sensor, which is situated up the top of the machine. Your filament loads directly through there. Now this one has been nice and easy to load. On some of my machines it has been tricky to get the filament in there, and it sometimes jams in the sensor, especially on my Creator 3s. This one fits in beautifully, slides right through, no issues, and that's going to pause your print if you have a filament run out situation. Next up, other thing I love is the drawer at the front of the machine. So in this here, it's nice and handy dandy. You have all of your tools that you need to do your maintenance work. Load filaments, clean the build plates, unclog your extruder. You even have some spare nozzles in there as well. So everything you need is fantastic, and it's great to have that stored on the machine. None of my machines previously have this, so that's a feature that was really nice to see, and a good surprise when I opened this out the box. We have a 4.3 inch touchscreen LCD, which is fairly responsive. So far, no complaints. You do need to press semi-hard on the screen to get it to register, but it is nothing crazy. You definitely don't feel like you're doing overpressure on the screen, and everything works fantastically. The user interface is very simple, very easy to use, and you can find exactly what you're looking for pretty easily on there. Another thing I love about this machine is just the overall sturdiness and quality of it. This is a aerospace grade aluminium gantry. Everything feels solid. You have dual extrusions on your Y-axis and your Z-axis, so everything is nice and stable. And with your 2 lead screws up the top, they are connected by a belt as well, so they do not go out of sync, which is fantastic. Another thing I love about this machine is obviously this whole setup here. The whole extruder head, the hot end assembly is fantastic. We have a all titanium heat break. We have a full metal hot end. This is direct drive, so no Bowden setup here. You're not going to waste any filament really when you're loading and unloading this machine, not like on some of my other setups. And the auto leveling probe has been fantastic, it hasn't missed a beat yet. And I love that you can kind of swap and change different parts if you're looking to upgrade. It is worth noting as well that this has the Sprite all metal hot end, which is capable of going up to 300 degrees Celsius, and the print bed is also capable of going up to 100 degrees Celsius. And it does this extremely quickly. This has to be one of the fastest heating printers that I have. That nozzle heats up in a matter of minutes, and the print bed doesn't take too long either. I did see a few people have issues with the heating block being loose, but mine hasn't had that, so my nozzle hasn't been dragging, so I haven't really needed to mess around or touch that at all. But everything is super simple loading that in there, so no complaints there. Feels very sturdy, and I have full confidence in that hot end assembly there. The thing I love about this machine is the full-size SD card slot, so none of that micro SD, full-size SD, a lot easier to handle, a lot less finicky as well, so that's fantastic. On the side as well, we have a USB-A and a USB-C port, which is great, and what comes along with that is obviously this little full HD camera, which you can use to monitor your prints. Now, the quality of the camera is decent. I'm not going to say it's good, but it is better than the ones on my Creator 3s. That being said, still a fairly blurry image, but what can you really expect with a printer in this price range? You're not going to get, you know, like an iPhone level quality, but it is nice to have that feature there. The only thing I don't like about this is this awkward little tripod that it comes with. I wish they went with a better mounting option, maybe some type of bracket that you could mount it to the top of the gantry somewhere, or possibly on the axis here so it would actually follow the prints. Would have been a better solution, because this is just like, you know, a tiny little tripod, and there's nowhere you can really position this to get a good viewing angle of your print. You do have full control on the CREALITY Cloud app, so you are able to manage and control your machine from the app as well. You can do cloud slicing and one button printing from there. The app is okay. It seems a little bit clunky. Some things about it, you know, could definitely be improved, but I'm sure CREALITY will work on that in the future, and as the company progresses, I'm sure they will get better at upgrading their software as well. But it does also have the power outage feature too, so if you are to lose power whilst using this machine, you can resume the print once the power is restored. Another thing I really love about this machine is just how quiet it is. It is a very, very silent machine. All I can really hear is the fan on the extruder there running. Nothing else. There is hardly any stepper noise or anything like that. Way quieter than the other machines. So for someone who doesn't have a dedicated space set up for their 3D printers and might have it in their, you know, home office or in their living room where they're working or cooking, it's basically just like very slight white noise in the background. You can hardly hear this machine. Sometimes I even forget if it's on, but yeah, it is very, very silent. Going over the slicing software, CREALITY does have their own slicer. I did use this for a few of my prints and it was okay. It seems fairly standard. It's a little bit clunky. Definitely not as user-friendly as the FlashForge Flash Print 5, which I normally use, but you know, it's decent. It'll get the job done. If you're a first-time 3D printer, you're definitely not going to have too many troubles there. I did end up opting to use the Cura slicer for this 3D printer, just because I do like to have a little bit more control over the prints, and it's also a little bit more user-friendly as well if you know what you're doing. So I ended up using Cura, but the CREALITY slicer will work just fine for this machine as well. Okay, so what is my verdict on this machine? At the moment, this machine retails for $799 US. So for us Aussies, I believe that is close to 1,000 Australian dollars. The real question is, do I think it is worth the price? And is it a printer that I would recommend to someone else as their first printer? So onto the question of, do I think it's worth the price? I'm gonna have to say yes. Now I know this printer was sent to me for review, and as such I didn't need to pay anything for it. But if I was to use my own money to buy this machine, do I feel like it would be worth it? Absolutely. All I can say is I have spent a lot more on other 3D printers for a lot less, if that makes sense. I've spent way more money on machines that have delivered far less quality results than what this has, and they've also had far less features. So for that, I can say I would gladly put my money into one of these machines and be satisfied with the features and the prints that I'm getting from it. And now, would I recommend this to someone as their first printer? As your first printer, you could definitely go with something with less features than this. It's a 3D printer that can go through a full scale. You could have a beginner use it, you could have an expert use it, and there is enough in there, there's enough content, there's enough features to satisfy everyone, intermediates, professionals. you could definitely take this to any level that you want. So if you're a beginner with a low budget, maybe this might not be the best option for you. But if you're someone who kind of wants to get a all-in-one machine that already has some of the best hardware I've seen on a hot end assembly, you know, all these features with the camera, with the auto level, with the manual level, with the build volume this has, the filament runout detection, you know, your power outage, your integration with the clouds. This is a fantastic machine to go with. I really don't think you can go wrong with the amount of stuff you get with this machine. And the build quality is fantastic. So it is definitely a solid piece of equipment. If you've got the money, I would say go for it. You will not be disappointed with this printer. Keeping in mind, this is the first machine I have that I've had to build myself, and also the first one I have from CREALITY themselves. So this is my honest take. I've never used one of their machines before, and you guys have seen me set this up for the first time. And yeah, I can honestly say that I would recommend this to people. I do think it's a great printer, and I'm definitely going to be using it myself. So take from that what you will. That's my opinion. There is an affiliate link in the description below if you do want to get one of these machines. You can save a little bit of money there too. So yeah, they were nice enough to offer me that, and I feel comfortable recommending this machine. If I didn't recommend it, I would not have done this video. So yeah, that's it guys. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the review. I know this is a bit different to what you're used to from me. I've got some really cool stuff coming. There is some more companies that are sending me some other stuff as well. So I'm gonna decide if I want to review that or not. But yeah, you know, we will always keep it genuine on this channel. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what I can improve on the reviews, because I do want to do more product reviews. I think it's really great for you guys who are looking to get into building, you know, your own hidden blades, or any other kind of things like that. So let me know what I can do better, and I'm always open to some feedback. But yeah guys, I got some awesome stuff coming. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see the rest of the stuff that I've got coming. So see you guys.